Democrat Kamala Harris is leading over Republican Donald Trump 45% to 41% in a Reuters Ipsos poll published on Thursday that showed the vice president sparking new enthusiasm among voters and shaking up the race ahead of the November 5th election in the United States. The 4 percentage point advantage among registered voters was wider than a 1-point lead Harris held over former president in a late July Reuters Ipsos poll. The new poll, which was conducted in 8 days, ended Wednesday and had a 2 percentage point margin of error, showed Harris picking up support among women and Hispanics. Harris led Trump by 49% to 36%, or a 13 percentage points among both women voters and Hispanic voters. Trump led among white voters and men, both by similar margins as in July, though his lead among voters without a college degree narrowed to 7 points in the latest survey. And to talk more about that, I'm joined by Kate Fisher from Washington, D.C. Kate, how substantial is this 4% lead, considering that there is a 2% margin of error, and she has the big night of inquisition coming up tonight?
You're right, she does. It will be the first time that we've heard her sit down for an interview with a journalist since she took on this, nominee for the Democrats for president. That, however, could help these poll numbers grow or indeed diminish if that performance doesn't go as hoped, although she is riding this wave of momentum at the moment, which suggests that she is in a good spot. In terms of how important this is, yes, it is still very close within the margin of error, which essentially means that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are still neck and neck. This is still a nail biter, but crucially, she's really closed the gap on where Joe Biden was and even where she was before the convention. So although they are still very much equal, she has the momentum and is gaining ground on those poll numbers. Even though she is not clearly ahead, she has made up that difference, which no doubt will be worrying for the Republican Party and Donald Trump's campaign team. But also Kamala Harris's team will know that despite all the momentum they have, they still haven't pushed her above Donald Trump, so they also know they have a lot of work to do.
Okay. And how significant is this shift in the key demographic groups which are traditionally seen as Democratic voters, like women, black voters or colored voters, Hispanics? How significant is that shift?
I think it's really significant. You mentioned there at the beginning that there is now a 13% lead for Kamala Harris in female voters and Hispanic voters, both groups that she really will need if she is to beat Donald Trump. He, though, is doing very well with white men, which is a group that she is struggling to attract voters for. But I think that is a huge jump of 13%, shows that those demographics could really help her to put her over the line, because this election is going to be won on the margins. It's not going to be won. The people who love Donald Trump will love him whatever. People who love the Democrats will love them whatever. It's these moderates, these undecideds, the independents, the people in the middle that they need to attract. And a lot of them are women who don't always necessarily go out and vote, but if they are motivated by a candidate they see who represents them instead of two old white men, which was the option when Joe Biden was still in the race, then that may get them out of their house and to the voting booth. So it is significant as well, this Hispanic vote. If she can keep building on the momentum of these demographics, it's really going to help her. But it's also important to remember that this election will be won in just a handful of swing states, 7 states really, and it's the voters in those states that these two candidates really need to appeal to. But one of those is Nevada, for example, with a huge Hispanic population. So growth in these areas is going to help her in those swing states as well. Important to remember, though, that Donald Trump is also doing well with white men.
True. Kate Fisher, many thanks. We'll have to see how this pans out, especially her interview tonight. Thank you very much for joining.